Hello and welcome to the Oakland A's UK podcast, Season 2, Episode 14. It's been a little while since we've done a podcast, and in Episode 13, it was a couple of weeks to go in the regular season. We were all a little bit demoralised, not very optimistic that the A's would get to the playoffs. Turns out our lack of optimism was absolutely correct. We then binned off the playoffs. No need to worry about those with the A's not being there, but we are back now. Yes, the off-season doesn't look too hopeful either, but we're going to find reason to be optimistic as per usual. We've gone from lockdowns to lockouts, but it is always a love in here on the A's UK podcast. And I am joined, as always, by my two fellow A's UKers, Hannah and Dom. How are you both doing?
I'm very well, thanks, Matt. My other team's doing well, so that's keeping me going.
Yes, Blackburn going well.
I'm
we're
good as well,
recording
Matt.
just after Norwich lost 3-0, so we're not going to talk about football.
Yeah, fair. Well, our German team's doing all right.
That's very true, yes.
Union in a Champions League spot. Happy days.
Eisen Union. Union.
And my British team's not doing too badly.
No, all right, let's not go into that. No need to start singing any songs, that's for sure. Copyright strike coming down on us. But yes, as I mentioned, it's been we've been wanting to get back to the podcast, but we've been trying to summon up the good spirit to do it, really, because it all ended in a bit of a damp squib. And did either of you watch much of the playoffs?
I didn't watch a single game, not even a highlight.
Not one. In fact, without Googling it, I think I'd struggle to tell you who won it.
Well, we will come to our predictions at some point, which will tell a tale. But yes, the only thing I saw really was the Giants going out as they lost to the Dodgers on a very dodgy umpire call on a strike free, a check swing, which clearly wasn't a swing, and the umpire called him out. Which
I do know who won it. I'm being stupid.
Yeah. Yes. Well, we'll
My
come
other
to
American city.
There we go. Yes. Dedication to the cause there, Tom.
Yeah. Well, I support their football team, not their baseball team.
Fair enough. Well, yes. Hopefully we still have a baseball team. We're not going to go too far into that. That's a very negative start to the pod. But we will look back at the season in review because it didn't go the way we hoped, although it was far from a disaster either. The A's final record was 86-76, so 10 games over 500. And unfortunately for us, that meant we were third in the American League West, 9 games behind Houston, who ended up with 95 wins, and 4 behind Seattle. Ugh, dearie me. The run of 3 consecutive years in the playoffs has come to an end, and picked out a few things from here. First off, we were 52-40 before the All-Star break and 34-36 afterwards. Guys, we're normally renowned for being a second half team. It didn't come together this season for some reason.
Other than in 2014.
Other than, yeah, we're a second half team, except for when we're not.
Yeah. Well, no, I think both those years have some parallels, right? There's the sort of the year that we thought we were going to hit maturity of the team and really challenge the sort of the third year of a stretch of making it to the playoffs and looking half decent, and also sadly the year before it all gets blown up.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, very disappointing. And the other thing, we were 43-38, both home and away. So we had exactly the same records home and away. So no home field advantage. I did put in my notes, is there anything to COVID? Did it I don't think it particularly had a big effect across Major League Baseball, but clearly it was a difficult, unusual season, Hannah. And home cooking didn't do a lot for us.
No, I'd be interested to see what the figures were for last season, when we didn't have any fans at all, because it I'm not sure whether it's wildly different, but it would be a shame if the time that we finally got the fans back after the anticipation of 12 months of not having them. I wouldn't say that it's COVID, potentially the Vegas stuff, but I just think the buzz of the team after the trade window, the last couple of really good trades. So it does surprise me that we slumped quite as much as we did.
Yeah, you certainly can't blame the front office for giving up or anything. They did their best, but we obviously had things like the Bassett injury and Ramon suspension. So there were a few things that kind of went against us, unfortunately. But I think the biggest thing was the record in the AL West. So although we were able to beat up on the Angels, 15 wins out of our 19 games against them, and we did recover well enough against Houston. Obviously, that disastrous 4-game sweep at the Coliseum to start. 8-11, we ended up there.
Didn't we recover at the end of the season when they'd already made the playoffs?
Well, you take the wins whenever you get them, Dom. Come on.
Still the same team, Dom. Still the same players we had to beat.
Yeah. All counts the same. And we just about got the better of Texas 10-9. Well, we didn't play 11 very well, but it was a shambles against Seattle. I've put in my notes. 4-15. We lost 15 of our 19 games against Seattle.
I'd like to take responsibility for that.
Did you take responsibility?
No, I would like to.
Okay.
I'd just like to put it out there that when we had the little sum up the AL West teams in 4 words, I said, I think, surprise second place finishers for Seattle. And lo and behold, it came true.
That's true. So you're responsible for predicting an optimistic thing that came true. Dom, you're responsible for, what was it, perennially shite?
Yeah. So I thought I had to sum up the other 4 teams in 5 words. So I went shite, perennially shite, and cheats.
Yeah.
Seattle was perennially shite.
Except when they played against us, yeah. And that's a real shame because they've got some good young players coming through. So, that's a very disappointing. Disappointing to finish behind them anyway, but that record, and it just seemed like there were several series we had against them where even though things weren't quite going our way at the time, if we'd have been able to win 2 or 3 against them or even sweep a series, that would have completely changed the momentum of the run over the final month. And just every time we got ourselves into a position where we might be able to change the momentum, it just didn't go our way, unfortunately.
The bullpen struck.
The bullpen struck, that's very true. Yes, we can go right back to Trevor Rosenthal, never pitching an inning for us. It was, not good. But in saying it was not good, we didn't want to go through every single part of the season because we're not complete masochists. But we did want it to be positive. So I thought I would come up with a thing called 1 for sorry, 2 for joy. So although we will acknowledge one bad thing, we will level it up with 2 good things. And I have a little video music for you to lead us in.
1 for sorrow, 2 for joy. 1 for sorrow, 2 for joy.
Yes. That's what I did yesterday. So my Saturday was worthwhile. You got to put the effort in, guys.
Excellent, Matt.
Thank you.
Production levels off the charts as always.
There we go, as always. So 1 for sorrow, 2 for joy. So the ones I've gone for, obviously, and this is a slightly cheating, really, because mentioning Ray Fosse's passing is obviously much more consequential than anything that went on in the Diamond in terms of a bad mark for the year. Left the broadcast booth sort of halfway through the season, and it was announced at that point he'd been battling cancer for a number of years, and very sadly lost his life over just a month or so ago. I mentioned on Twitter with us, guys, that because we live over here, the vast majority of games we watch on TV or online. So Ray Fosse has kind of been a voice that we've heard throughout our AU supporting lives, and it will be very, very weird coming back next season. A bit like with Dick Callahan in the previous season, it's weird to see those people whose voices are so synonymous with experience in the community of the A's no longer being there.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to what to add to that. You make an excellent point. He was the voice that we listened to, especially when we finally got access to MLB TV. Yeah, and I think you could just see by the way his co-presenters and the team that work with him, as well as his ex-players, just how big a character he was and how important he was to so many people.
Yeah, so very sad there. And what kind of added to it was Sean Murphy, not long after, was announced as the Gold Glove winner at catcher, and Ray Fossey, being a former catcher, was always going on about the art of catching and how much he loved Sean Murphy. So it's a real show. It was kind of bittersweet in a sense, because obviously Ray didn't live to see it, but I'm sure he'd have been very proud of Murph winning that Gold Glove. And the other one I went for in my two for joy was Sean Manaea. Now, again, we'll come to predictions as to whether this was a surprise or not. I'm getting shakes of head saying it wasn't a surprise, but it was great. What you can all agree on, I am sure it was great to see him back to his best.
He was back to his best at the end of the season before, Matt.
Well,
and it didn't surprise me.
No. Okay. But that was my one for sorry, two for joy. Do you guys have a one for sorry, two for joy?
Yes.
Yep.
So let's go with Hannah first.
My one for sorrow is quite a big one. And it's more a general feeling that we missed the boat with such a great group of guys who obviously had chemistry. And perhaps more last season than this season. Maybe expectation got the better of us this season, but yeah, that's my big sorrow. My joy is we should get a heck of a haul for Matt Olsen and Matt Chapman.
That's your joy. That we're trading the Matts.
Yeah, but I'm thinking about the players that we're going to get. We're going to get some real stars for the future. Like, we're going to trade them so that, yes, it's a sorrow, but they're gone now. So let's focus on the guys that we're going to get in instead. The next Caprellian or whatever. And then my other joy, seeing as my last one was poo-pooed, I think this one will go down better. Bassett's comeback after taking that ball to the head. That was great to see, even if it's probably the last time we'll see him as an A.
One for sorrow, two for joy. Not one for sorrow, plus two joyful things that were also terrible.
Three for sorrow there.
Yeah.
Would you like me to try and rectify this, Matt?
Have a go, Dob. Have a go.
Well, my one for sorrow is quite a big one, and it's the absolute farce off the field with all this Vegas crap.
Yeah.
You could probably widen it to just having the worst owners in baseball, just the continual refusal to invest in the team, the fiasco with pursuing, and we've seen it in the news the last couple of weeks, couple of days even, that they've made a bid for the space of the Tropicana casino to build the new stadium in Vegas. Just commit to Oakland and get it done, guys. Yeah. So that was story of the season. I think it was only a month or so into the season that we were talking with Jorge, and we were, they were replacing the flags in right field with banners of protest, and it's just been a cloud that's hung over the team the whole way through. I think the players acknowledged that shortly after the All-Star break, that it wasn't a good thing. So that's the one for sorrow. Two for joy. First one, Starling Marte, an absolute Rolls Royce of a player, the sexiest thing I've ever seen in A's uniform.
There we go.
Just amazing. Just amazing. I proper 5 tools, just everything he does turned to gold. He was excellent. He was exciting every time he came to bat. Every time the ball was hit, even in the vicinity of him, he was making the catches. And it was nice, even if it was fleeting, to have a player of that quality on the A's. Yeah. And 2, probably the surprise package of the season, Tony Kemp. Better than nothing, isn't he, Matt?
He certainly is. As I always said he would be. Right from the start.
I think we even ignoring the predictions, I think we all enjoyed Tony's rise to prominence and rise to being a regular starter. And I think probably just for the 3 of us, we all also enjoyed Stringer's affection for him. Yeah. Stringer being someone who joins us for watch-alongs, one of our mates. He's just getting into baseball and has taken a real shine to Tony Kemp. So
how could
those are my 2 for joy.
Lovely. There we go. So yes, Yeah, there was certainly, as I mentioned in the kind of intro, really, it was disappointing how it ended, but there were lots of good things along the season. And to be fair, even when looking ahead to years where, because we've seen this in the past, where we're not winning games, where it's a struggle, there's usually always some good stories along the way that sustain you through the season. If you're not, if you're losing lots of games, there are still reasons to enjoy it, aren't there? So, yes, it was not the season we wanted, but far from a lost season either. And
Yeah, we're the Oakland